So now that we have this 3D cube, or this shape, this square 3D shape, well, what we need to do is form the apple to this cube. And easy way to do that, we can do it several different ways actually. Now I could easily come in here and use a smudge tool, but for this video we're going to get a little bit more cooler and come up here to filter and use the liquefy command. Okay? But make sure that you have the apple layer selected before you do this. So click on the apple layer, up here to filter, and select liquefy. Now the first thing that we must do is display this three-dimensional cube over the apple so we can see exactly what we're doing when we form the apple to the cube. So down here where it says show backdrop, you have to put a check in this box right here. And when you do that, you're automatically going to see the cube because really, by default, it's showing all the layers. And these are only showing transparently, so you can see that we can control the opacity of the layers for the backdrop. We can turn it all the way up as well. But what we must do though, you see where it says use? We only want to select the 3D shape from this menu. Because see, if we don't just select the 3D shape and we have all the layers selected, well, as soon as we come in here and start painting, we're going to see the original apple transparent in the background. You see that? And we don't really want that. So now if you watch closely, if I come over here and switch just to 3D shape, watch what happens. You see that go away, and it just makes it a lot more easier to work with so we don't have that distracting background there while we form to the shape. So what I can do is undo that. So we've checked the show backdrop option. You can adjust the opacity to your liking. I don't really need it too high. I can just keep it 50% will work just fine. How we're going to begin here is we're going to use this tool at the very top. It's called the forward warp tool. And this is the magic, folks, right here. This is what does it all. And so if you select that tool, and then over here on the brush size options, you'll need to adjust the size of your brush according to the shape and how large you need it. And so what I can do is just bring this down here next to the apple, click the mouse, and move towards the apple, and you can see it start to push the apple inside. Look at that. And I'm pushing it just towards the line here on the cube because I really don't want to go much farther than that. And again, this cube here that we've created is only a guide. You don't have to make it exactly perfect to the cube. So there you go. We can also click on the apple inside and push it out as well. You see that? And here's another tip. If you ever make a mistake, you can also use the reconstruction tool, which is almost like an undo. Just come over here and click on reconstruction, and then click on the area, and that will put it back to the way it was originally. You see that? So it's almost like having an undo. All right. And I'll just go ahead and undo that and reselect the forward warp tool and just continue warping this apple to the shape. And I like to make the edges just a little bit rippled. I don't want to go too perfect, so it looks like it's natural. But you can see this is not very hard at all. And you can really use your imagination here. You can create all different types of shapes. You can have an animal, or if you want to make a square pig or something like that, you can do that as well. Just going to move this bottom up here. And if you would like to see what you've done so far and just make this cube here go away, all you have to do is just uncheck the show backdrop right there. So I'm going to move this around here. And everything's looking pretty good. I'm going to increase that brush size just a little bit larger there. And we're going to push this corner in here. And I'll lower the brush just a touch to get inside the corners here. And look at that. You can really start to see how this is coming along. Look at that. And we can hardly even tell that it was round. It's now a square apple. But we're going to make it look a little bit more square later on. But I'm going to come through here and just do a few more touch-ups. Probably increase the brush size a little bit. All right, great. Now another thing that I can do over here on the toolbar, we have a couple tools here, the pucker tool and the bloat tool. Let's select that bloat tool real quick. And I'll just go ahead and make this brush a little bit smaller. And then what I can do is bring out the edges a little bit, bloat them, which is kind of almost like bringing them forward a little bit. Look at that. And I can also do the back here to give it more of that rounded edge. Looks like it's just missing from that around this perimeter here. I'm going to select that warp tool and just pull these edges back in once more. There we go. And we also have the pucker tool. The pucker tool, it just pushes in, basically just pushes in. So if something is pushing out, I can just push it in like this. And that's probably going to be a little bit too big for that side. That way it doesn't look like it's bloating out as much. And I'll go back here and just do a few little touch-ups. All right, great. I think that looks pretty good for right now. I'm just going to come up here and click OK to apply the changes to that layer. There we go. And I can make this 3D shape invisible. And we can also come back to that anytime, just for reference. But here is our apple.